Day 141. I start by heading to the sewers and purchasing 2 crafting recipes. And now I'm going to completely change the format of this video. At this point, the only things I have left to do to achieve perfection are the following. Build the 4 obelisks and the golden clock. Finish off the slime and Dougie's monster eradication goals. Get Kent and Leo to maximum friendship. Level up my foraging skill 1 more time. Obtain 1 more star drop by getting Krobus to 12.5 hearts. Unlock a couple more crafting and cooking recipes and find 3 more golden walnuts. So, to avoid a situation where I talk about a bunch of things that aren't really important, or at least more so than I normally do, which is quite a bit, I'm going to talk about what I did each week instead of each day. With that out of the way, days 141 through 147 are spent accepting a special order to once again bring Mr. Key a bunch of different coloured items. I also harvest ancient fruit, buy back some ancient fruit that I sold, and toss the ancient fruit into seed makers. I purchase starfruit seeds from Sandy and plant them on the farm. I open up some loot boxes, and from this point forward I won't be showing me opening them all up. Instead, I will put all of the items I receive from them into chests and show them all at the end of each season. Also, here is a quick update on the greenhouse. It is almost entirely filled with ancient fruit seeds. There's also a few corn seeds and pineapple seeds which I will replace with ancient fruit seeds in the future. Finally, I spend quite a bit of time working on the remaining monster eradication goals. During days 148 through 154, I received the final star drop I needed from Krobus, which honestly wasn't difficult at all. We're able to give Krobus a gift every day because he's our roommate, which greatly speeds up the whole process. I finish off the monster eradication goals by defeating the final Dougie I needed. I'm always really happy to cross this one off the list. I spent some time in the volcano dungeon where I use golden walnuts to unlock the shortcut to the shop, and I purchase a cooking and crafting recipe from the dwarf here. Once again, I open up some loot boxes, collect oak resin from the quarry, and harvest starfruit. I toss some of the starfruit into the keg shed and sell the rest of them to Pierre. I ask Robin to add a cellar to the house, purchase 2 cinema tickets, buy some coffees in the saloon and some starfruit seeds from Sandy, and watch the Journey of the Prairie King movie with Kent. I plant the starfruit seeds, collect more oak resin, and begin filling up a second shed with kegs. I also get started on creating an ancient fruit empire on the Ginger Island farm. Here is a bit of a progress update on how the farm looks to begin days 155 through 161. It's not much, but it's honest work. I actually cannot believe I referenced that meme in 2023. What am I doing? I exchange some golden walnuts for key gems, and once again I accept the different coloured items special order from Mr. Key. We have also finally received a special order from Caroline. Completing her special order will reward us with the solar panel crafting recipe. I've put a ton of work into collecting as many pineapple seeds as possible, so I am absolutely positively prepared for this special order. There is one small problem though. Caroline wants us to grow and ship 100 taro roots, not 100 pineapples. That is a bit of a curveball to say the least, but there is no way I'm going to allow myself to miss out on that crafting recipe. I collect some key seasoning from a chest and I use it to make a gold star lucky lunch. Eating this will give a nice boost to our luck. I collect some star fruit from a keg shed, sell it to Pierre and buy deluxe speed grow. I head to Ginger Island and exchange bone fragments for 36 taro tubers, bringing us up to a total of 43, which I plant with the deluxe speed grow. The plan is to harvest all of the taro roots when they're ready and put them into seed makers. I will then plant all of the seeds we get from these seed makers. I sell some items to Pierre, and actually I don't think I need to say I sold things to Pierre anymore unless I make like a couple 100,000 gold from it. So you won't have to listen to me say that anymore. I head to the casino where I eat my lucky lunch to boost our luck and spend quite a bit of time using the slot machines. Eventually I earn 8,900 key coins, so I spend some gold to bring us up to a total of 10,000. I use these to purchase the alien rare crow. I plant more ancient fruit seeds on Ginger Island, buy a rare crow from the dwarf, and collect 1 rare crow and a skeleton statue from the rewards available to us at the museum. I didn't mean to pick up the skeleton statue. There's actually a second rare crow in the museum. That's what I actually wanted to pick up, not the skeleton statue. I return a short while later to collect the aforementioned second rare crow. Then I start opening up loot boxes. Actually, why am I mentioning this? I already said I'm just going to show every item I get at the end of the season. There's no reason for me to mention this anymore. I apologize. That was just a bit of a lackadaisical moment on my part. I collect some starfruit wine, plant some summer forage seeds, and harvest the first batch of taro roots that have grown. I toss these into a seed maker and plant the resulting 26 taro tubers. Another starfruit seed shopping spree is on the agenda, along with the routine acquisition of deluxe speed grow. I plant the starfruit seeds on Ginger Island. I watch a movie with Kent, harvest some taro roots, toss them into a seed maker, and use bombs to break the rocks at the dig site. The goal here is of course to obtain more bone fragments. I've already got some bone fragments with me that I obtained from defeating skeletons, so I take my alarmingly sized collection of bones to the island trader. I exchanged these for another 42 taro tubers which I plant on the Ginger Island farm. I make sure to put them close to the river so they grow faster. Alright, we're almost at the end of summer. Nice. Days 162 through 168 are spent harvesting starfruit, purchasing the final 3 crafting recipes you can get from Mr. Key, along with Mr. Key's hat for some reason, harvesting summer forage, watching a movie with Kent, I really want to get this friendship goal out of the way, and sending a duck feather to Leo for his birthday, which results in us reaching maximum friendship with him. Now only Kent remains. I harvest all of the taro roots that have grown along with a ton of starfruit, throw the taro roots into the shipping bin, harvest even more starfruit and toss them into keg shed number 1 and keg shed number 2. I visit Robin and buy a couple stacks of wood, then I head to Clint so I can get copper ore and coal. I receive the crafting recipe for the solar panel, collect oak resin and cook almost every recipe I have unlocked so far. I retrieve a few ingredients I need from the chest where I've kept all of the loot box items I've received during summer and make a few more dishes. I then repeat this process for the crafting recipes, making every item I've unlocked so far. I buy tomato seeds because I need them for a couple of cooking recipes along with some extra cooking ingredients just to be on the safe side. I finish off the season by planting my tomato seeds. Also, I was going to show footage of me opening every chest I store the loot box items in, but that footage is like 2 minutes long. So, in the spirit of saving time, I am instead going to put screenshots of the items I received on the screen. I will have 3 separate groups of screenshots and I'll show each group on the screen for like 10 seconds maybe. But of course, do feel free to pause the video if you need more time to look at them. I'll still be here, waiting patiently. Also, a handy feature of the Automate mod is that I can use wood pathways to connect the chest to the shipping bin. Every item that can be thrown into the shipping bin will automatically be deposited into it. That is very handy indeed. I receive around 71,000 gold for the items I got in loot boxes. I thought I'd get around 100,000 gold at least, but you know, not every loot box can be a winner. Moving on to the season of fall now as we begin days 169 through 175. I collect starfruit wine from a keg shed, not just once but twice, and it was very nice. Also, some fantastic news as I realize I have learned the recipe for roasted hazelnuts on the last day of summer. This is perfect timing as Kent loves roasted hazelnuts. Not only that, but we only need 3 hazelnuts to make the dish, and hazelnuts are a fall forage item. I decide to reset my foraging perk as I want to choose the perk that gives us a chance to collect 2 of any forage item we pick up. It's movie time once again. Kent is receiving the royalty treatment today as I get a Stardrop sorbet for him. Unfortunately, Kent isn't the biggest fan of the movie that is playing this month. This means we won't get any friendship points for the movie aspect, but we will still get the bonus 50 friendship points for getting him the snacks he loves. I sell my starfruit wine to Pierre and choose the foraging perk I mentioned earlier. Deluxe Speed Grow has quickly become my new favourite item in the game. I collect the fruit in the bat cave and plant the fall forage seeds I made. A mini ancient fruit harvesting session takes place, and I gotta say, our ancient fruit empire is really coming along nicely now thanks to the planting of more seeds. I've decided to plant ancient fruit seeds on the farm in Pelican Town as well as on the Ginger Island farm. This will help us get even more ancient fruit seeds. And ancient fruit has now been added to the growing list of words that I have said way too many times during this playthrough. I use the fall forage I harvested along with the forage I kept in a chest to make more fall seeds which I plant. The goal is to max out our foraging skill by the end of fall. I've been dilly-dallying for far too long when it comes to that. More ancient fruit is ready, delicious. I stand on my farm for a few seconds, not entirely sure what I was doing here. I collect more wine, sell it to Pierre. I cannot emphasize how much I enjoy using Deluxe Speed Grow, and present a magnificent dish of roasted hazelnuts to Kent. Moving on to days 176 through 182, I begin by harvesting the fall forage that has grown. I use that forage along with the forage I had in the chest to make more fall seeds, which I of course plant again. Good news, as the tomatoes in the greenhouse are ready, along with a few ancient fruit which I toss into kegs. I make a fruit salad and a fish stew, and with that, I have cooked every recipe I've unlocked at this point. I give roasted hazelnuts to Kent, maxing out his friendship. That also means I have achieved the goal I set for the first year to reach maximum friendship with every villager. I head to the Wizard's Tower and have him build the Island Obelisk on our farm. I decided to get that one first because I'm going to be going back and forth between our Ginger Island farm and the Pelican Town farm quite a bit for the rest of this playthrough. I harvest a colossal amount of ancient fruit. Actually I take that back. It's not a colossal amount. Not yet, anyway. I'm still waiting for the rest of the ancient fruit to grow. I harvest some fall forage, collect oak resin from the quarry. Actually, yeah, I don't need to mention collecting oak resin anymore. It's kind of a given that I'm going to collect it every Sunday in order to keep making kegs. There's a lot of things I don't need to mention anymore. I'm wasting so much of your time. I'm sorry. I really am, but I can't help it. I learned how to make blackberry cobbler, and I immediately make a blackberry cobbler just to get it out of the way. I fill the remaining spaces in the keg shed, harvest ancient fruit, and plant fall seeds. For the duration of days 183 through 187, I fill up the kegs, and for the final time, I harvest fall forage. We have finally reached level 10 in foraging. At this point, all I need to do in terms of the goals we set is to earn a total of 10 million gold, craft 2 more items, and cook 5 more dishes. In terms of achieving perfection, I also need to craft the 2 items and cook the 5 dishes for that, as well as buy the golden clock and build the 3 remaining obelisks on our farm. Once again, it is time to change the format of this video, only slightly though. We have very little to do at this point, so for the remainder of fall as well as the entirety of winter, I will only be talking about the important things that happened during those periods of time. With that being said, during days 188 to 196, I learned how to cook crab cakes, make a crab cake, keep my kegs fully stocked with ancient fruit, ask Robin to build a 3rd shed on our farm, and attend the Spirits Eve festival where I buy the last rare crow I need and the jack-o'-lantern crafting recipe. Immediately following the festival, I return home and make a jack-o'-lantern. Then, on the final day of fall, I learned how to make fiddlehead risotto, cook the dish, unlock the crafting recipe for the deluxe scarecrow, and craft it. That was the final item I needed to craft. Also, this time I'm actually going to let the footage of me going through the items I got from Lootboxes play instead of just showing screenshots of the items. Primarily because I do want to talk about a few things before fall ends. Firstly, just to go back to the topic of crafting recipes. Crafting every item was one of our goals, which means that that is the 6th goal we have completed. So it is time once again to improve the settings of the loot boxes. Our final 2 goals are to earn 10 million gold and cook every dish. The cooking every dish goal. You unlock the final recipe on the last day of winter in year 2, so that is the earliest we will be able to complete all of our goals and improve the loot box settings for the 4th time. As for earning a total of 10 million gold, I do think it's possible for us to achieve that before the end of winter. The Ginger Island farm is covered in ancient fruit, so we basically have an unlimited supply of those for our kegs. Speaking of kegs, I already have 2 sheds full of kegs, but I also asked Robin to build a 3rd shed on the farm. That's basically our safety net. You'll see after I finish showing off the loot box items that one of the things I do during this final day of fall is I fill up the new shed. It isn't upgraded yet, so we can still add more in the future, which again, that's just a way of really trying to ensure that I do reach that 10 million gold mark by the end of winter. I gotta say, I'm really excited about this playthrough ending. Not in like a, oh I can't wait for this playthrough to be over, I'm sick of it type of way, but rather I'm just excited to see how winter and maybe even year 3 go? Maybe? Will I even have to go into year 3? Or will I do the impossible? Will I finally achieve perfection in one of my playthroughs on day 224? No. I'm sorry for the spoiler, but no, it's me, that's not happening. As much as I enjoy playing Stardew Valley, and as many hours as I've spent playing this game, which happens to be like 880 something hours at this point, the last thing I have to do in every playthrough is build the golden clock. That won't be any different here. I already know for a fact I'm going to have to go into year 3 to get the gold I need for it. But honestly, that doesn't bother me. You know, like I've said, I've had a lot of fun with this playthrough, so I don't mind going even further with it and spending more time on this. I assume the footage of me going through the items has ended, so let's move on. For the remainder of the final day of fall, I fill up the new shed with kegs, connect the chest to the shipping bin, and take a moment to bask in the glory of our ancient fruit farm. I collect ancient fruit wine from our first and second sheds, sell all of it to Pierre, pick up some items on the ground in his shop, continue my mission to single-handedly keep the saloon in business by buying copious amounts of coffee, and build the earth and ocean obelisks. Also, look, I know my farm is still a mess, believe me, I'm well aware of it. I promise, it will look absolutely sterling by the end of this playthrough. I earned 55,000 gold from the loot box items this month. I will be completely honest and say that I didn't open all of the loot boxes this time, hence the lower amount of gold. Days 197 through 224. It's time to talk about winter. I head to the sewer and reset my farming perks. I want to choose the perk that gives a 40% bonus to the amount of gold we get from selling artisan goods. This is important for us because wine is an artisan good. I get to work on cleaning up the farm in preparation for the decorating I'll be doing soon. I head to sleep and choose the wrong perk. What's even worse is I never went back to the sewers to reset the perks and get that 40% bonus. I am the opposite of smart sometimes. The loot box opening adventure begins. Again, I won't be showing me opening up loot boxes outside of this little segment here. I'll just show all of the items I get at the end of winter. It is incredibly satisfying harvesting all of this ancient fruit. I am genuinely over the moon with how much ancient fruit we have growing here. I learn how to make a poppy seed muffin and I cook it, of course. Real quick, I would like to thank Robin for allowing us to buy wood from her. I've already spent so much time chopping down trees, I would actually cry if I couldn't buy wood. Also, I guess I would like to say thank you to Clint for selling iron and copper ore. Yeah, he does tend to try to sabotage me at least once during every playthrough, but I mean, he is helping us to make the copper and iron bars we need for kegs, so I guess I'm grateful or whatever. I learn how to make bruschetta, and as always, I also cook the dish. I collect ancient fruit wine from 1, 2, 3 sheds, and I take the ancient fruit I was keeping in 1, 2, 3 sheds. I sell all of these items to Pierre, which pushes us up to total earnings of 10.2 million gold. That is the 3rd goal we set for year 2 and our 7th goal overall completed. The only goal we have left is to cook every dish. I head to the Wizard's Tower and build the 4th and final obelisk, the Desert Obelisk. Oh, also, I asked Robin to upgrade our 3rd shed. The reason why I didn't show that is because I didn't want to spoil how the farm looks. But don't worry, I will reveal the farm in all its glory really soon. I learn how to make shrimp cocktail and cook it. And with that, the final goal has been completed. Nice. But we're not done yet. No, see, we still need to achieve perfection. All we have to do for that is buy the golden clock. It does cost 10 million gold, but at the same time, we can earn that gold pretty easily by continuing to make and sell ancient fruit wine. Also, as it is the final day of winter, I'm going to show screenshots of the items I found in loot boxes during this season on the screen. Again, feel free to pause the video if you need more time to look at the pictures. I've also decided not to sell these items. Instead, I'm going to keep them here so I can compare them to the items we get from the loot boxes we open in spring of year 3. I also mentioned that we completed our 8th and final goal. That means the loot boxes will be even better in year 3. Also, you can't actually see me do it because these are screenshots, but I took the wedding ring and a beanie out of the chests here. I head to Emily's house and use her sewing machine to dye my pants black. I retrieve a pair of crystal shoes from a chest and return to the sewing machine where I use a piece of cloth and a geode to make a grey hoodie. It looks good, but not great. It just doesn't have that level of sterlingness that I'm looking for. Is sterlingness a word? Well, it is now, I suppose. I return once more and combine a field snack with a piece of cloth to make a denim jacket. That is what I'm looking for. Now I feel completely at peace with myself. No, but in all seriousness, I do actually really like this outfit. The denim jacket looks pretty nice, especially when it's paired with the crystal shoes. Also, I have an announcement. Behold, trash can. I have also decided to put the wedding ring I mentioned earlier into a chest beside the trash can. It just felt natural to me to put these two beautiful items beside each other. And that is the end of winter and the end of our second year. All that is left for us to do now is to build the golden clock. Let's just get right to it. Days 225 to 252, aka all of spring in year 3, begin with a visit from Grandpa. He is very happy with the progress we have made here on Pay to Win Farm. I clear out the wood, fibre and rocks that have appeared on the farm, then I buy 2 stacks of grass starter. These will be used to make the farm look more aesthetically pleasing. I would like to give you all a sneak peek of the items we have gotten from our first round of loot box opening. You will notice we have received 54 largemouth bass and 36 cookies among other items. I feel like I may have made the loot boxes just a little bit too good at this point, so I definitely won't be selling any of these items. Just in case anybody is curious, here is the settings I used for the loot boxes after I completed 6 goals. And here is the settings I'm using now. It's safe to say the quality of the items in the loot boxes have absolutely increased too, as I'm starting to get things like legendary fish in them now. Anyhoomst, all of spring is spent harvesting ancient fruit and throwing them into kegs, along with the typical loot box opening sessions every week. On the final day of spring, I collect all of the ancient fruit and ancient fruit wine from 1, 2, 3 chests. I sell everything to Pierre, which brings me up to over 10 million gold. I head to the Wizard's Tower and finally purchase the golden clock, which I place in the center of the farm. As always, here is a look at all of the items I received from loot boxes during the last 4 weeks. Now that we have essentially reached the end of the playthrough, I would like to give you all my final definitive thoughts on the loot boxes. First of all, they added a brand new level of fun to the game for me. I was pretty much always excited when it came time to hunt them down and open up all of the loot boxes every week. Especially in the early stages of the game when each loot box had the potential to help us with the community center and the museum collection. But even after completing both of those, it was still nice to consistently receive items that I could, give to villagers or use them in crafting and cooking recipes. I do remember being worried that the loot boxes would eventually be useless, but I was completely wrong about that. They provided us with some kind of benefit the entire time. Being able to get golden walnuts for them was a very nice bonus too. I probably don't even need to say this, but the loot boxes absolutely made the game easier. If I was short on gold, I could sell the items I got. I always had items I could give to the villagers as gifts, I completed some bundles in the community center with less stress than normal. The museum collection was a lot more convenient, to say the least. Overall, the loot boxes made quite a few aspects of the game a lot more convenient, if not just downright easier. I would definitely recommend downloading the Overworld Chess mod and giving this a try if you ever get bored of playing the game normally. On day 253, a couple of notifications pop up letting us know that we have achieved perfection. I'm ready to head to the summit and watch the final cutscene, but before I do, I would like to show you all some screenshots. First we have the storage shed. It's nothing fancy, but I think it looks okay. And it kept our farm tidy because I wasn't throwing my items into random chests on the farm. We also have one of the 3 keg sheds. I was able to fill the shed entirely with kegs because of the automate mod. What I did was put ancient fruit into the chest, which would then be put into the kegs. The wine that was produced would go right back into the chest. We have our greenhouse, which again, nothing fancy, I just have a ton of ancient fruit growing here. It's the same story with the Ginger Island farm, or as I called it, the Ancient Fruit Empire. This is really what helped us earn 10 million gold. We have our house. If you've seen my previous playthroughs, then I'm sure this looks familiar. I pretty much decorate my house like this every single time. Finally, we have the farm. I really do think this is the nicest looking farm I have ever made. I am so happy with how it turned out. Forget about achieving perfection. This right here is what I'm most proud of. I could happily look at this picture for hours. Now, let's have a bit of fun with the loot boxes one last time. I have doubled the values I last used for the loot boxes because I'm curious as to what kind of effect that will have on them. The first loot box I open gives us over 5 million gold and thousands of items. This repeats with every loot box I open. This is incredibly satisfying. I could happily spend the entire day just opening these up. But I think it's time for us to say goodbye to the loot boxes. I head to the summit where the final cutscene in the game plays. And that is the end of our journey. As always, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Have a good one.